How are you? Welcome back to Big History. I'm Rachel Hansen, and this week we're talking about agriculture. So our driving question today is, where and why did the first cities, and states appear? Where and why? This sounds like a geography question, which I love. I love teaching geography. So if we think about it, foraging societies were much different than farming ones. For one, they were much less dense. They were maybe at their lowest small groups of 5 to 10 families, and at their largest, maybe a group of up to 30 if the season was plentiful for finding, foraging for food and for animals. But as people began to settle down, their populations grew. There were more people, they had larger food supplies, and they were more densely populated. So these cities, these states, and eventually these civilizations were growing. But where were they growing? I always wonder about this. Was somebody like, hey, we found this really awesome river over here? Or like, wow, this is really great land for growing some stuff. Like, y'all wanna come and hang out? So where did they appear and why there? Today, our word of the day is civilization. And a civilization is just a community, a society of people with a dense population. They have large public buildings and monumental forms of architecture. They often have a central authority, something that might look today like what we think of as government or laws or rules, because there's a lot of people. You need laws, you gotta keep them in order. And they also invent things like writing and record keeping, which allows us to read the histories of these early civilizations. So they're much different than the small farming communities of the past. And this dense population allowed for people to begin to specialize. They weren't spending all of their time farming, and now suddenly people could become artists. They could become cobblers, right? They could make shoes, they could make clothing. They might be responsible for designing and making these monumental forms of architecture in these public buildings, or for making the laws. And as people had different roles, they specialized and societies continued to grow. This is a key characteristic of early civilizations. Now, today you're gonna head over to Khan Academy and you're gonna watch a video. Where and why did the first cities and states appear? And I want you to write down these geographic locations as you encounter them, because it helps us answer our question, right? Where and why? What do they have in common? All right, head over there, check out the video. I'll be here when you get back. Hey, welcome back. You found some geographic similarities, right? I mean, moderate climates and rivers were a key feature of early civilizations. So keep those in the back of your mind as we continue learning about the importance of agriculture this week. Now today, in your historian's journal, I want you to think about, what does population density have to do with the coronavirus pandemic? Especially, how does the density affect the spread of the virus? I live in the Midwest. I live in the state of Iowa. We're incredibly rural. We're really spread out from one another. And so the spread of the virus has been much slower here than in larger urban areas on the coasts. So think about, why is that? What does density have to do with the spread of viruses like COVID-19? All right, y'all are big thinkers. I love being here with you. So I hope you'll be back tomorrow, because it's hump day and Alphonse will be here. So be good, take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.